Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Word on Real Estate. Let's talk about it. I'm your co host, Mr. William Burtice, and I'm so glad you got a chance to tune in today's show because we have an awesome show for those who are listening today. And before we get into our show, what I want to do is introduce our co host and our guest co host today. So, what we're going to do is start to my left here, Mr. Clinton James.
Yes, sir. My name is Clinton James, your local real estate broker here in San Diego. I'm the associate broker at DEM Financial and Real Estate and owner broker at BHF Real Estate and Notary Service. Often imitated, never
You
duplicated.
can't duplicate it. There's only one Clinton James.
That's right.
And next to him, we got Mr. Keith Behan.
Yeah, Keith Bayham. How you doing? I'm a community activist
That's right.
and a volunteer within the community, and have several years as a career within the financial services industry.
Cool.
Nice.
And so next to Keith, we have a first-time guest co-host today. This is a smart brother here with us today, Mr. Corey Morrison. How you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you bringing me out to the show. If anything, I can say I can just duplicate what Keith just said. Yeah, so
There you go.
volunteer in the community for a number of years, and I've been doing my thing on financial services side here in San Diego for a while as well.
Cool. And this is why I want to bring these two gentlemen on today's show. Unfortunately, our other two guest co-hosts couldn't make it today, Mr. Terrell Simmons and Michael Dunn. Much love to you guys. I know you're watching live. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it today, but I'm sure they're going to enjoy listening to the show
Yes.
as we have two great guest co-hosts and our other regular co-hosts, myself and Clinton James.
Yes.
So today's topic is really unique, and today's topic kind of came about last minute because uh, if you've been watching the news, you've been put up to date on what's going on in Dallas, Texas, and there's a gentleman by the name of Bolton John, and he was sitting in his home eating a bowl of ice cream, and a woman came in, a police officer came in, and shot him to death, thinking that that was her place. And for some reason, this really resonated with me because I just was thinking, like, man, this guy is in the comfort of his own home, and he gets killed. And
Yeah.
sometimes, in the past situations, these things have been justified.
Right.
And a lot of people look at it as a, black versus white type of thing. And how I see it is just really unfortunate that this happened regardless of race.
Right.
But we do understand that race plays an important factor in living here in America.
Right.
So that's how I came up with today's show, which is called Black Success in a White World. And this is being the foundation of today's show comes from the book Black Faces in White Places by author Dr. Randall Pinkett and Jeffrey A. Robinson, PhD. If the name Randall Pinkett rings a bell to you, it's because he was the winner on The Apprentice about 6-7 years ago, and he was the only black winner on The Apprentice. And he created this book to show people and navigate people on how you could become successful in a world that may be systemized by people who are white, or you may feel like they're the gatekeepers of the financial success or economic success. But being black in America, there are opportunities for you to succeed. And that's what we want to talk about today.
Yep.
It's not about putting any culture down, but
Right.
it's about how as a black person can you navigate this world and succeed. So today's top 10 strategies come from the book Black Faces in White Places. However, we call today's show Black Success in the White World.
And just keep in mind too. Also, it's all about changing your mindset when it comes to success as a minority here in the United States. It's what this book, and I like what Randall Pinkett and Dr. Jeffrey A. Robinson did, is that they give you some tips on how to really change that mindset of how you think about success and how you navigate that success in going after success in this world where there might be glass ceilings and limitations placed based upon a systematic oppression.
Right.
So and I think it's very vital today considering the situation that happened with Bolton John. But at the same time, too, we are going to show you, based upon our experiences, too, in our community, how we were able to become successful and give you some personal stories, too.
Right. So, and that's why we brought these other two gentlemen today, because we know they have life experiences and professional experiences that help meet a lot of these strategies here.
Yeah.
So the first strategy we're going to talk about today is establish a strong identity and purpose. And I remember reading this, establish a strong identity and purpose. That means identity. Who are you personally? How do you identify yourself? You may identify, if you're male, I'm a male. You identify yourself as black, I'm black. If you identify yourself based on your religious belief, I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I've come from the nation of Islam. And then at the same time, how do you identify yourself with society?
Right.
You know, are you, a professional? Are you a blue collar worker? And then at the same time, how do you identify how you see yourself based upon how society sees you?
Right.
So, Corey, Keith, tell me what your thoughts about when it comes to personal identity, how you came into the careers. You don't have to go into depth about who you work for, but the careers you chose, and how that came with your personal identity. In society.
From my end, I think I established more of a strong purpose and identity by going through HBCU, going to a historically black college. Um, I was around so many people who had a similar mindset but looked different than me. Just because we were of the same race didn't necessarily mean that we all saw eye to eye. Coming from a place like that and studying there, I realized that within a short amount of time after graduation, that I was given the tool set in order to feel like I had a purpose, not just within corporate America to represent myself and others like me, but also just the feeling of empowerment. Like I was there, blessed and off the strength and opportunity and hard work of so many others. So I was standing on the shoulders of so many others, and it was my turn. So that's how I felt.
Okay. And how about yourself, Corey?
Well, my story is a little different. I didn't go to an HBCU. Actually, I graduated here at San Diego State, so I'm a
Okay.
local guy as
Go
far as
Aztecs.
yeah, as far as college is concerned. Um, but yeah, so getting into the financial services industry was a little different from me. I remember being a kid when a financial advisor would actually come over to my parents' home, and they would sit at the kitchen table and they would do whatever it was that grown-ups did. I was 12, 13 years old. I was watching the A's game, just having a good time over on the other side of the room. But I didn't figure it out until later in life, like right about college, right after college, that that's who that person was. He was their financial advisor. He was the one that was helping to set them up for future financial success. And so I got to see what was happening in my own household and realize that my parents put me in a position where I could go out and do the same for others. And so that's what I considered to be my calling at that point was, you know what, I've got all this education, I've got this knowledge, and I've got the ability to help people out there, to help families out there, especially families that look similar to my own. I need to spread this with the world.
Right. Right. And Clinton, you became a real estate broker, so
Yeah, and my experience is a little bit different than most. I came from I migrated here to go to college in 1998 from Trinidad, and I lived with a host family, and minus to say they were Caucasian, but at the same time too, they invited me and they accepted me into their home. But what I saw was the work ethic because they were involved in real estate, and I saw how important that was here in San Diego and California. I learned from them how the power of real estate, and especially in how it actually changes people's lives. So I saw how they were able to even work in loans and then bought the company and then started buying homes and investing in themselves. So I saw that, and I actually also partake of the fruits of that too. You know, they lived a very good life, and we had a lot of fun. We went out to the desert. We went out to there's boats, there's a lot of toys and stuff, and that caught me because I saw that it was also a very lucrative business. But at the same time, one of the things that in reading this book that I want to touch on that Corey touched on is the best way to create your identity is always to have broad exposure. You know, Corey and Keith said that they went to college, and that's why we want to impart upon y'all. And even with me living in an environment and the exposure where I learned about real estate just by being in that environment, that tends to create an identity for yourself. because you want to have that exposure to things that you don't know. And a lot of times you'll find in our communities that people fear getting outside of their comfort zone. Going to college, going to an HBCU, I think that was phenomenal. And that created a huge foundation for you being able to now see successful people that look like yourself. So I mean, that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on is how to create an identity, and then two, if you don't define yourself, someone else will define you.
There you go.
So if you don't really know who you are, what you are, someone else is going to put that label on you. So you have to be able to define who you are by definitely creating that path that you want to walk by focusing on your purpose. Once you focus on that purpose, yeah.
And sometimes it's just living life, going through certain life
Yeah.
experiences.
Right.
I would say, for example, for me, uh, back in 2009, I started working for a nonprofit down here in San Diego called the Coalition Neighborhood Councils, which service South Beach, San Diego, in the 21 different communities or neighborhoods in that community. And I grew up in South Beach, San Diego, but I never really, focused on helping my community out.
Yeah.
And I remember just being there and meeting different people, seeing the different organizations, actually seeing what real people are going through in South Beach, San Diego, through the struggle and certain things that I may have taken for granted that they don't have access to.
Yeah.
It kind of put a spark in me saying, okay, I need to do something about this. And then eventually I went to go work for a nonprofit organization called Bayview Community Development Corporation, where we did affordable housing, we did became the economic development.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I need to get on the side where I'm helping giving out the money for these opportunities.
Yeah.
So that's kind of reasons why I got back into banking.
Yep.
And I look at my life as a purpose of, okay, I'm merging the two. I'm merging the community development side of helping people who don't have, and I'm going to be on the side that does have and bring them together.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
and then part two is, and you mentioned this too, obtain broad exposure. And I talked about exposure that I gained inside working in the community. But one of the things what this book is talking about is kind of getting out of your comfort zone and getting into a place where you're being exposed to things that you would have never considered. And I'm just talking being outside of, your own culture.
Yeah.
I'm talking about maybe traveling to another country, going to a college or a school that you never thought you would go to, maybe even taking a job that you just said, okay, this wasn't a part of the plan, but let me try this out to see if I like it.
Right.
Do you guys have any personal experiences or maybe stories of maybe getting out of your comfort zone that really, in a situation that helped you grow professionally and personally?
Yeah, I would say one year I had a goal in my professional development, which was to become comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's a good, yeah.
And that was just a goal of mine to do it that year. So I set out to actually become part of Toastmasters, which was where all about public. It's a platform of public speaking and leadership combined. And public speaking was not my forte. I mean, they say most people will die before they say what they have to say. And it's true because I remember it took me 6 months to even get up in front of people to give my first speech.
Ooh.
I really actually skirted the opportunities to speak. And when I did it, it helped me understand that it's all about practice. It's like rinse and repeat. If you do it, you become comfortable with it. The nervousness and the anxiety never goes away. You're just learn how to control it. And that helped me in a huge way be able to now branch out into expanding my communication skills in sales, public speaking. I even went as far as starting a chapter, local Toastmasters chapter at my church that I attend, and that's still thriving today. So those are the things that I believe for me, it gave me a lot of exposure because everybody, when you go to Toastmasters, everybody's there for a reason, which is most likely it's to improve communication skills or leadership. And you'll learn that, number one, stepping out on a limb, it's kind of like you have to erase that
Right.
fear out of your mindset. And that creates a lot more exposure for you to get into. Once you erase that fear, you can get into any situation, and you're going to be able to at least tread water through it. You know.
How
Yeah.
about you guys?
So I would say in my situation, I had a nice, comfortable, stable salary position at a major bank, just in retail as a personal banker, and I met a gentleman, in and he actually recruited me out of the bank to become a full commissions position with aspirations of becoming a financial advisor, and so I was in San Diego for about like 2 years at that point. I just got married to my wife. We've only been married for about like a year or so. Just bought our first property, and so we were like a young couple, right? And just the whole idea that we're supposed to be starting this family and supposed to be, building from here. But here I am taking this leap of faith of going from a salary position over to a full commissions opportunity. What came out of it was I was exposed to a financial services world that I just really didn't expect. I didn't, when you're basically going from, how much you're going to make in terms of a paycheck to a dog eat dog world. You don't know
Right.
who
Right.
you to trust and the information that's coming at you. And then on top of that, you got a huge learning curve that you need to learn as fast as possible because you're supposed to be advising people on stuff now. So, but with that opportunity, that gentleman did provide me a chance to get my securities license, and that turned out to be a gift within itself. And so I do thank him for allowing me and recruiting me out of the bank. But it was definitely a leap of faith where, my wife was looking at me like, dude, like, what are we doing here now? I'm just keeping it real, like,
Right. I know how it is.
but
That's
on the
right.
other side of that, she believed in me to pursue my dream, and I thank her for that.
Nice.
But,
Hey man, you got that backup. That helps a lot.
yeah.
How about yourself, Corey?
So my transition happened actually a little bit earlier. It was a transition that got me from the Bay Area down here to San Diego, and I can say I must thank my dad for pushing me down here. So Bay Area kid, grew up there, had no aspirations of going any place else. I loved it up there, and so my choices were Cal State Hayward or San Diego State. Easy. Cal State Hayward is right down the road. I can do that. My dad said, no, you're going to go look at San Diego State before you make this decision. So packed up my little 92 Geo Metro, put my brother in the front seat, and we drove down to San
Oh,
Diego.
you had one of those too?
I had the 92
What
Metro,
color was
man.
yours?
Mine was burgundy.
Oh, mine was yellow.
Yeah, was, oh, you had the yellow one? Yeah. 1, 2, but 3 cylinders.
Right.
All 3 of them cylinders was running.
Stick shift, yeah.
Yeah, but don't get me mad though. I used to work in Circuit City, man. I did have 18 speakers in the back. I did.
That was you. That was you. who heard
Yeah,
down
that
the
was
street.
definitely me. You see me on the highway,
man.
what do you say? The headlights are dimming. You're looking in the mirror. Yeah, that was me. Anyways,
Oh, man.
so going back there, so Dad made me come down here to check out San Diego State, and the reason that Dad made me do that was because honestly, in high school, junior high school, they had a nickname for me up there. It was called Flatline. And that nickname was based on me just going to school, coming home, sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Very little as far as friends. I was the shyest kid you ever meet in your life, to the point where when I walked up in school, hands were like sweating and everything. I didn't want anybody looking in my eyes at all. I was an introvert, to say the least. My dad wanted me out of that. He wanted me out of that. He knew that there were bigger things in store for me. So came down here, checked out San Diego State. I'm not going to lie. I was in SD for like 20 minutes before I made a decision. Yeah, this is where I'm coming. San Diego State. And so went home, told Pops that's what I was going to do. But on the drive down here for school, so we're looking at August 98 now. I know I just dated myself, but August 98 now.
Right.
I'm on my way down to San Diego on the side. You know what? I'm going to be a different person down here. No one knows me in San Diego. This is 100% outside of my comfort zone. They have no idea that I have 1.5 friends up in the Bay Area or anything like that. I'm going to get into campus government. From that, getting into campus government, that led me to a couple of different things. So I was a residence hall president. I got an RHA, which was kind of my forte, into getting into finance. And here I am later, 20 plus years later, and I am where I want to be with regard to finance. But it's opened up so many doors with regard to people that I know, people that have been entered into my life, and the number of people that I've been able to help. And all of that started with doing something that was completely foreign to me, which was talking to other people.
I love
right.
that.
Yeah, that's
and,
good. That's
and,
good. That's really
and
good.
as these strategies go on, I mean, we could literally do a whole show on all these strategies.
Yeah.
And I would love to touch more on that. But you know what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to talk about black success in the white world.
I am Roosevelt Williams III, the Soul Cobbler. I repair man and women's shoes, handbags, and luggage so I can save your soul, heal you, and yes, I will die for you. Ask us about our 100% healthy skin lotion.
When your skin is dry and you look ashy, rub me on your skin, plus I smell classy. You can put me on fresh out the shower. Rub me on your body, I'm that soul cobbler. I can save your soul. I can heal you.
I am your Soul Cobbler. Contact me directly at 858-480-9262. That's 1-858-480-9262. And remember, every soul counts.
The San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper is San Diego's oldest and largest African American publication. We bring you news for and about our community. Your stories matter to us. Thank you for allowing us to serve you for nearly 6 decades. Your support enables us to continue to forge ahead, informing you with news tailored to your needs. In addition to subscribing to our weekly publication, consider using Voice and Viewpoint to promote your business and events. Call us at 619-266-2233 or send an email to ads@sdvoice.info for details on how to get started. If you have advertising needs, contact us. Our prices are both fair and reasonable. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Voice and Viewpoint or visit our website at www.sdvoice.info. Remember, a people without a voice cannot be heard.
It's time to roll out the red carpet and celebrate at the 2019 San Diego Prestige Awards, presented by Fulfillment Enterprise, on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. This year's special musical guest will be Season 3 winner of Sunday Best and Grammy Award winner, the incomparable Leandria Johnson, singing the hit single, Deliver Me, This Is My Exodus. Don't miss the San Diego Prestige Awards as we recognize and honor many of San Diego's own community, music, ministry, and industry trailblazers on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. Red carpet at 6:30 p.m. This year's ceremony will be held at Faith Chapel, located at 9400 Campo Road in Spring Valley. Purchase your tickets now. Go to www.theprestigeawards.com. Tickets are only $15 for general admission and $25 for VIP. Don't miss the San Diego Prestige Awards on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. with special musical guest Leandria Johnson. For more information, go to theprestigeawards.com and don't you miss it.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the word on real estate. I am your co-host, Mr. William Bertice, and today we are having an excellent discussion today on black success in the white world, and it comes from the book Black Faces in White Places by Dr. Randall Pinkett and Dr. Jeffrey A. Robinson. So we're talking about the 10 different strategies to navigate being black and successful in the United States. And we got through 3 so far. The first one is establish a strong identity and purpose. Number 2 was, I'm sorry, we got through 2, not 3.
Yeah, 2.
Obtain a broad exposure, and we all talked about our experiences with that. So number 3 is demonstrate excellence. And this is basically a meritocracy that we're looking at, this with demonstrate excellence. And while we're on a quick commercial break, I was talking to Corey and Keith, and we were talking about baseball. And Corey said, "Man, if this was Wednesday, I don't know if I'd make it." And the reason why I bring that up is because he's an A's fan, and the A's are in the wild card playoffs right now. And baseball is one of those games where it's just based on meritocracy.
Yeah.
It's about how good are you?
Mhm.
Are you excellent at what you do? I mean, we even see that to the point with Antonio Brown, who
Right.
once played with the Steelers. Great player, kind of wreaved a little havoc over there. Got to the Raiders, really wreaked havoc over there. And then because of all that, no one will want to touch him. Took the Patriots. They said, we'll touch him. Because excellence wins all the time.
Right.
If you're excellent at what you do, someone will be out there to pay you. I like that. That rhymes.
I like that.
There
Yeah,
you
that
go.
rhymes. So when we were talking about black success in what we call a white world, is are you great at what you do? Are you competent at what you do?
Right.
Do you spend hours reading? Do you spend hours practicing at what you do?
Right.
Are you putting the time in to become great at what you do? Because that's really all you can do is the time, effort,
Right.
time, and effort that you put into something will make you excellent over time.
That's right.
And sometimes you have to fail to become successful, and that's okay. Sometimes some of us are all careers in commission, and we have to do a quick learning curve. We have to be excellent right away.
Right.
You know, even if in front of the customer we're excellent and behind the customer we're not the best, we have to do whatever we can do in the background to become excellent at what we do in front of the customer. So, gentlemen, talking about some things that you guys went through, and it doesn't have to be your careers, but it could be someone that you know of, or it could be yourself, where you knew that your black skin didn't matter because you were excellent at what you did.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. When when I say when you say my black skin didn't matter, even though I was excellent at it, I have to look back and say it's tough to gauge that a lot of times when
Okay.
you think that you're doing the best, because I'm a learner. One of my strengths is being a learner. So for me, what I would say is when I see my peers who are of different ethnicities than me, and they're getting opportunities that I don't get when it comes to the same merits that we have. That's where I'll see maybe that plays a role. Just keep in mind there is such a thing as privilege and white privilege. Pastor Miles actually he wrote a book called The Third Option, and he made a very good analogy of what that looks like. And he said that he's left-handed, and it's hard for him to find anything that's right-handed. If he goes golfing, it's hard for him. He has to wait, order it, a left-hand putter, because everything is made right-handed in the stores, baseball bats, everything. So when you go to a world that's made for right-handed people, it's a little bit harder for you to actually get the same equal treatment, and that's how it is when it comes to the relationship between ethnicities and races in a society that's built with some form of oppression and privilege, So, but I would say the way to overcome that, I've realized one thing I had to really look is at myself, because I can blame society, I can blame the world, I can become a victim, And one of the things that I did that changed my perception on how to operate in a world like that is the book from it's called the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People
Oh, by Stephen Covey.
by Stephen Covey. That helped me a whole lot in changing my perception of really how I can really internalize and handle my time, my effort, and how I can strategize to make sure that I'm not focused on the big scheme of things, but making sure I get the little things done first in order then I can really measure up. Because at gauging your success based upon someone else's is not the best way, because it's something that you're always going to be jaded by the fact that somebody's getting another opportunity. That shouldn't stop you from moving forward. But if you look at the small successes in your life that you can do, and just compete against those things instead of competing against someone else, you'll see that so sooner or later those things build up. you know, and you get to where you go, and just be focused. I would say focus, laser focus on your goal and what you want to accomplish, you know? Because at the end of the day, nobody can really stop you and your success. My dad always had a saying that they can take the shirt off your back, but they'll never be able to stop you based upon what you know up here. That's something they can't touch.
Hey, there you
You
go.
know, so yeah, I mean that's how I would say. Even though the world's built like that, you might see some biases. I would say just go forward and keep on moving forward. Don't stop. You know.
So I would say in my situation, it would be more like I was a part of an inbound call center, and so service was like top priority. And so being placed in a position over the phone where somebody has to deal directly with you, and you have to understand what their goals are and what their options are, and just identify that and then make it happen. Being placed in that situation allowed for me to understand, like, when it came to service and information and details, I mean, it is what it is. And if you bring it with a certain love or a certain respect to it, then people will say that that person is bringing what he needs to bring to show excellence for that particular position or company or firm or whatever that is. So that's where I learned where it's like when we're talking, at the end of the day, if I came up with the correct solution for you and we were able to implement that, then that was a win for everybody. So it doesn't matter what I look like.
Okay. How about you, Corey? Any experiences when it comes to overcoming whatever barriers you may see there by excellence?
Allen Iverson.
Okay.
What word is he most famous for yelling?
Practice.
Practice. And we're talking about practice.
That's right.
Practice.
Not a game.
It's 100%. It's practice. It's repetition. It's doing it over and over and over again.
Yep.
Master your craft. Understand your game. Whatever it is your game is. If your game is hoops, do your thing. If your game is golf, make sure you take your swings. If your game is in the financial services industry, get your scripts down. Understand your game. Understand what it is that you're trying to do and your ultimate goal. Yes, take the full spectrum of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Make sure that that's in mind, but don't skip out on the details. It's the small details, the execution of those details, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's what's going to separate you from the competition and from everyone else out there who is skipping that because they see those as minute. They see those as things that doesn't matter. When you pay attention to those, man, I really hate to bring this up, but people like Tom Brady, he's not my favorite guy, but even so, people like Tom Brady, he's been doing this for a long
right.
time.
I take it you're a Raiders fan.
Oh, I am not a Raiders fan, my friend. The Raiders were in L.A. when I came on my own.
Well, I'm a Raiders fan, so I don't got to be friends with everybody.
That's
Hey,
okay.
you
T-Mobile Arena. You kidding me? They're playing a place called T-Mobile Arena next year. That's all right, man. As an Oakland A's fan, I'm happy to see the Raiders go. But going back to practice, make sure that you master what it is you do. Be a student of your craft, a student of your profession, and understand absolutely everything inside and out. To me, it's all about practice, doing it over and over and over and
Right.
over again.
Yeah.
When you can literally do it in your sleep.
And sometimes when you look at, and I'm just going to use the entertainment world as an example because it's something that most people are aware of in the sports world as well, is when we think of the greatest basketball player, who do we think of?
Steph Curry.
Ooh.
That's not what I was going to say. Greatest shooter of all time.
Right.
I had to see the reaction in the
Greatest
room.
shooter
I had
of
to
all
see
time.
it. I had to see it.
But if someone says the Michael Jordan of financial services or the Michael Jordan of plumbing or whatever it is that you do, you know that that person's excellent at what they do. And we're using a person example whose skin tone is as a black man.
Right.
But people just view him, I would say majority of people view him as someone that does something at such a high excellence that you can't deny his greatness, even if you don't like him.
Right.
I mean, if you follow football, there may be fans that may not interact with any black people or may have just score with black people, but they'll go out there and they'll put that jersey on of their favorite player. It may not be Tom Brady. It might be, who else played for
Randy Moss.
Randy
back
Moss.
in the day,
You know, it's like, hey, I don't care what he's going to help us win.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're excellent at that, if someone can benefit from that, it's like, okay, you know what? I don't care what race you or color you are. I could benefit from your excellence.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So number 4 is build diverse and solid relationships. And a huge part of this is getting out of your comfort zone with people who look and do the same things as you, but get into a situation where people are different from you. One of the reasons why I got into real estate, because like Clinton, I got into Toastmasters. And I'm in a Toastmasters group with all middle-aged white men who have been very successful in their life. And I've been around these type of people in my life, but more so one by one, not by a group of 20 of them. And initially, I was a little uncomfortable because I'm like, man, how are they going to view me? And I eventually worked up my craft at public speaking. I became really good at it, and eventually, I was able to develop strong relationships with these guys. And because of those strong relationships, I've been able to get great career advice. I've been able to even one of them gave me a job at some point in time. And I realized that, man, I'm expanding my network, because if this was 5 years previous, before I even met this group, I wouldn't have had the same opportunities,
Right.
because the people I know didn't own a business. Some of these guys own a business. I'm not trying to say only white men own businesses,
Right.
but I knew a guy that owned a big enough business where he can hire me.
Yeah.
So, how's relationships played a role in your life when it comes to diverse relationships played a role in your life when it comes to your success or whatever that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I remember my first job here in the United States was working as a floor salesperson at a bedroom furniture store. And I remember the owner, it was a small store, so the owner did everything from the shipping and receiving to the sales, and then we had to do the accounting, which was accounts receivable and accounts payable. So it was a small store. Everything was done kind of like in that store itself. Now, long story short is that the owner took a liking to me, and he gave me full authority to open and close the store. And I liked it. He was this Southern guy with a strong Texas accent, and he had this curled up beard. And then he drove one of those old Ford trucks. But I remember the opportunity that he gave me and to actually learn how to run a business. Even though it wasn't that much, I wasn't getting paid much, but I was opening the store on days that he wasn't coming in, until he started trusting me with the whole store itself, meeting the distributors and also ordering the merchandise. It helped me understand how to start a business and how to run a business and how what actually works. And that experience, I'll tell you, combined with my college experience, pushed me to now start my own business, which was start my own real estate brokerage. I remember when I graduated college, did my MBA program in 2013, and I graduated. I was just kind of like, what do I do next? I had my real estate broker's license, and I had this degree in hand, which was a business degree and MBA. So the first thing I did was I wrote up a business plan. And I said, okay, well, you know what? Let me go start pitching it to different investment funds. And I remember my barber, I was telling my barber about this, and he was like, you know what? You should check out this company called Axion. Not promoting them or anything, but they fund small businesses. And I remember I went to them, pitched it to them. And this is a real estate brokerage that I'm pitching to them. This is like a dime a dozen, And I remember they also liked what I had to say and how I wrote up my business plan, and funded me, give me the seed funding to start my real estate brokerage. Nice. So, I mean, that exposure gave me the confidence of knowing how to run a business in the beginning, and seeing how it's done helped me transition all the way to starting my own. Because I do my own accounts receivables, I do my own accounts payables, I'm my human resource manager, everything. So it also helped me to understand how to set the foundation right first in the beginning, because I've been open for like maybe since 2013. This is 2018, 19, and I would say I've gone through that up and down, but I've been definitely breaking even every year. So I mean, just those exposures and those simple things that we take for granted, those things are learning processes. A lot of people think the job that they have right now, it's not worth anything, but this is an opportunity where you can learn,
Right.
that's exposure right there. Working at McDonald's, that's an exposure right there, Yeah, you learn how to, one day can open a fast food chain or restaurant.
Hey, there you
know?
go. How about yourself?
Well, building diverse and solid relationships can, in addition to be going across like cultures and genders, of course, it could also just be reaching out to people who are in different professions that you may normally not even might have direct exposure to. Within financial services, we talk to gentlemen, people who in the banking industry and realtors. More often, but there's other professions out there that you can also build relationships that have business owners, and you can basically share resources that way. So I just say that just because when I think about diversity, I always think about coming from East San Jose was always very diverse in terms of culture, but being in the business world and just seeing that it really, in addition to your culture, it's also like your profession and what your goals are and who you are. Like, are you passionate about your community?
Right.
Even though your community might be, different than mine, but if you're just as passionate about yours, we're going to relate. We're going to relate because that feeling of, wanting to give for the greater good is going to be there, and we're going to like each other.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but go ahead.
Corey, what about you?
Okay. So I am 100% on board with what these two gentlemen in front of me just said, and I've got some experiences of my own where branching out and having different connections in different areas of the community is definitely going to benefit you. Obviously, professionally, that's something that I'm dealing with every single day. The office that I work with, the type of clientele that happen to come through my office, you have to be able to not necessarily speak a lot of different languages, but you need to understand a lot of different languages.
Yeah.
And understand how people behave, how people are going to react. One of the things, if I go back, call it 15 years ago or so, it was one of those things where I stepped out on my own in a place where I've never, ever, ever been before, but made probably the biggest change in my entire life. I went to a country western bar. It's not a whole lot of country western bars in West Oakland. I didn't do that. So came on down to San Diego, and on a bet, or I should say a promise to a friend of mine, I showed up at a country western bar down here in Mission Valley about 2005. Did that, saw something that changed my life forever. And I'm not going to go into a lot because I can talk about it for like 5 hours. We're talking about dodgeball.
Dodgeball. I think that I know the bar you're talking about. So many few of those in San Diego.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm like dodgeball in the club setting. Like, wow.
I know which one you're talking about.
And so what I mean by that, as far as how that changed my life, doing something that I would not normally do. Like I said, country western bar isn't typically where I hang out, but I went out that night to hang out with her, met some people, played dodgeball, which opened up everything for me. I probably know about 70% of the people that I know to this day due to dodgeball.
Wow.
I've traveled the world due to dodgeball. I volunteer across the world due to dodgeball. I met my wife via dodgeball. Everything that I've done in my adult life, the majority of things that I've done in my life have somehow spawned off of dodgeball, and all of that started with me keeping a promise to a friend of mine that I would show up to a country western bar in 2005 here in San Diego.
Man, you must have a pretty strong pitch, man. You be beaming them guys or what?
Hey,
And the ladies playing too?
Hey,
Man,
it's a
like,
tournament,
wow.
man. They take it seriously.
Lace up. Goodness.
I wasn't expecting that, but that was a good example.
Perfect.
We're having such a good conversation, and we've only got halfway through our list, and we have like 15 minutes left on the show. But what we're going to do is take a quick commercial break, and we look forward to hearing you back when we come back.
I am Roosevelt
Awesome,
Williams
Todd.
III, the Soul Cobbler. I repair man and women's shoes, handbags, and luggage, so I can save your soul, heal you, and yes, I will die for you. Ask us about our 100% healthy skin lotion.
When your skin is dry and you look ashy, rub me on your skin, plus I smell classy. You can put me on fresh out the shower. Rub me on your body, I'm that soul cobbler. I can save your soul. I can heal
I am your soul cobbler. Contact me directly at 858-480-9262. That's 1-858-480-9262. And remember, every soul counts.
The San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper is San Diego's oldest and largest African American publication. We bring you news for and about our community. Your stories matter to us. Thank you for allowing us to serve you for nearly 6 decades. Your support enables us to continue to forge ahead, informing you with news tailored to your needs. In addition to subscribing to our weekly publication, consider using Voice and Viewpoint to promote your business and events. Call us at 619-266-2233 or send an email to ads@sdvoice.info for details on how to get started. If you have advertising needs, contact us. Our prices are both fair and reasonable. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Voice and Viewpoint or visit our website at www.sdvoice.info. Remember, a people without a voice cannot be heard.
It's time to roll out the red carpet and celebrate at the 2019 San Diego Prestige Awards, presented by Fulfillment Enterprise, on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. This year's special musical guest will be Season 3 winner of Sunday Best and Grammy Award winner, the incomparable Leandria Johnson, singing the hit single, Deliver Me, This Is My Exodus. Don't miss the San Diego Prestige Awards as we recognize and honor many of San Diego's own community, music, ministry, and industry trailblazers on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. Red carpet at 6:30 p.m. This year's ceremony will be held at Faith Chapel, located at 9400 Campo Road in Spring Valley. Purchase your tickets now. Go to www.theprestigeawards.com. Tickets are only $15 for general admission and $25 for VIP. Don't miss the San Diego Prestige Awards on Friday, October 18th at 7:30 p.m. with special musical guest Leandria Johnson. For more information, go to theprestigeawards.com and don't you miss it.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the World on Real Estate. I'm your co-host, Mr. William Bertice, and we are talking about black success in a white world, and that even means dodgeball as well, as we come to hear from Corey. Hey, and I love that conversation because this brother went to a country western bar,
Right.
and it changed his whole life. Not that he became a fan of country western music. I don't know if you are or not.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Not a fan of country western music, but a fan of the dodgeball. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with the top 10 strategies. And we got 10 minutes left, and we left on 4. So number 5, I'm just going through them real quick. Number 5 is seek wisdom from others. And this is so important because setting up that mentor-protege relationship is key. And this is the 5 tenets of seeking wisdom based on Black Faces in White Places, a book by Dr. Randall Pickett and Jeffrey Robinson, is there's always something you can learn from others.
Yep.
Realize there's always something you can learn from others. You do not know it all. Number 2 is the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And I'm sure you guys learned that in your respective professions, is the more you start to learn about your profession, it's like, man, I don't know about this. I didn't know about this. I need to know more about this.
Right.
Number 3 is greater wisdom is often found in failure than success. And I've had plenty of failures in things I've tried to do in my life. And part of the thing is sometimes I don't think I failed enough. So failure is sometimes a great learning tool. Number 4 is when you seek wisdom from others, you develop your own. So not just seek wisdom from others, but develop your own through your own experiences. And number 5 is do not seek wisdom from others. Also impart your wisdom on others. So that's part of the give and take type of life cycle type of thing, is just don't be a person that receives information. You got to be able to put out their information, put out their wisdom.
Right.
If someone's helping you, if someone's holding their hand, helping you up, you should be holding your hand down, helping someone else
That's
up.
right.
Pay it forward.
So pay it forward. Number 6 is find strength in numbers. Part of this is being a part of a good group. Initially, one of the first things I could think about is being a part of an organization or a religious group like a church. Uh, One of the strong identities and foundations I have is my relationship in church, and the fact that I feel like when you see me, you just don't see me. You see a whole group of people behind me, and other than family and friends. I'm talking about I have a church group that I know will support some of the things I'm trying to go out there and accomplish and doing. In fact, some of them are watching this show right now. So developing strength in numbers, developing a strong relationship with others, beginning in small groups that will lead to bigger groups,
Right.
that will lead to organizations. And then number 7, which I want to kind of hit on a little bit more and get your guys a little bit of discussion on, is thinking entrepreneurially. And when we say entrepreneurially, we're not talking as an entrepreneur owning your own business. We're talking about working for a corporation or organization and navigating your way up through the corporate ladder of success. So some of us are entrepreneurs in our corporate positions. So you don't have to talk about who you work for, but let's talk real briefly, because we got like 8 minutes left, on different strategies you've done to become successful in the organization you work for.
Well, I don't,
Well, you're an entrepreneur, right?
right, right.
Okay, we'll hit on Keith real quick.
Okay. For myself, it's kind of crazy just because I always just consider myself someone who wants to think outside of the box. So I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and that doesn't always fit within the corporate guidelines and policies and things like that. So I've had success in terms of moving up the corporate ladder, but not too far, just because I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Like, I just didn't want to wake up every day and be assistant to somebody else. I've just always known that my goal in life and passion in life is to empower and educate people through financial literacy, and this is who I am. And I want to focus on a particular market which may not reach or be expected as the target market of the corporation that stands behind me. So that was always kind of an issue of mine, if you want to keep it
Okay.
real.
So you got someone who, hey, listen, I'm going against the grain, but you're following your purpose and your passion.
Yes.
That's right.
So that's really
what
important.
counts, yeah.
How about yourself, Corey?
So with regard to moving up the corporate ladder, I consider myself to be more of an entrepreneur inside the company that I do work for. And so the motivation is internally driven, just to be very, very honest with you. And it's, I want to do well. I want to do well for my family. I want to do well for my community. I want to do well for, obviously, myself as a part of that. But a lot of this I kind of owe back to my youth. And I really have to give my dad a lot of credit here, because my dad was very hard on me. He was very hard on me to make sure that I could be the absolute best at whatever it is that I wanted to do. And that's who I am. So with that, I am always making sure that I put in the work to be at the absolute top of my game, so that I don't ever have to be in a position where I have to do what someone else says. Where if I want to work 5 hours today, I'll work 5 hours today. If I want to work 0 hours today, I'll work 0 hours today. Some days I work 14, like yesterday.
Right.
But those are all up to me. So I get to make those decisions. And the more and more I am on top of my game, the more and more I control my own destiny with regard to how much impact that I can make, how much money that I'm going to make, how much success I'm going to have that allows me to go off and just be myself.
Love that. And since Clinton, you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business. Briefly, let's talk about how you view entrepreneurship in a way to help Black success in the white world.
Being an entrepreneur, it's a mindset. Sometimes they call us crazy because we have to be very, how to put it, vivid thinkers. We think of things and then we try to implement it. So one of the things about being an entrepreneur is that you can't be scared of failure. You just can't. You just have to really give it 110%, whatever you do. One of the things about carving or game-changing strategies of entrepreneurship for profit, I would say that helped me is is creating a business platform where a business process where I can actually give back to my community, and implementing that in my business plan, and calling it's already given a name, which is called a triple bottom line, where you look at social, economical, and environmental impacts, and how you run your business. I wanted to implement that in my business and in my accounting when I started my real estate brokerage. So that's why the first thing I did was created a name that was unique, which was called BHF, which is Blessed and Highly Favored. And the acronym is BHF Real Estate and Notary. And I also created an MOU with the nonprofits that I work with on a referral basis, where I give back 20% or 30% back to any referrals that come my way, and I position myself on the boards of those organizations too, so that not only to gain some form of exposure, but also to give back to the community itself. So that's one of the ways in which, as an entrepreneur, for me, it has helped me in just networking with people who are in my industry, mentoring people, coming in contact. Because one of the things that I had to learn was that I always have a mentor next to me. One of my mentors right now, my business partner is Denise Mathis. She's been in this industry for years. We work together. I learned so much from her. And one of the persons that you always want to do is keep somebody you can teach. It doesn't have to be someone outside, a student. It could be a family member. And I'm really trying to teach my brother right now in how to really self-develop himself into an entrepreneur. So those are the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur of how to maneuver in this world and become successful at it.
Awesome. So we're going to hit the last two strategies real quick. So number 9 is synergize and reach scale. And the last one is give back generously. And I can honestly say that each gentleman here has given back generously. And you either do it with your talent or your time, or you do it with your treasure, or what's the third one? Or you do it with touch, just actually reaching down and telling someone that you care and you're there for them. Sometimes that's giving back generously as well.
Yep.
But if you got the time and the talent, and if you got the treasure, give back. It'll
Yeah.
always come back tenfold.
That's right.
So we're close to ending today show, but as some of you guys may have known, that Clinton and I weren't here on the last episode, and one of the reasons why was, unfortunately, Clinton's mother passed away. So Clinton wants to just give a quick shout out to his mom and publicly thank her for the love and support she's given him all the years.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, and thank you for allowing me to do this. My mom was a great woman. She taught me a lot, being a Sunday school teacher and the wife of a pastor with 6 kids, raising 6 kids. She did a lot. So 3 things she left me with was, one is to always have a thirst for learning about people, places, and things. Don't be scared of learning. Number 2 is as a Sunday school teacher, she gave me my favorite Bible verse, which was Philippians 3:14. I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me, and that has been the foundation for my life. The third thing is that she showed me is that number 1, don't walk in fear. Always give thanks no matter what's going on in your life, and put God first. So those are the 3 pillars of what my mom stood for in my life, and that's one part I've done to you. And just celebrate her life. And I thank you for everybody who reached out with condolences and prayers and support during that time. I do appreciate it. It went a long way.
Yeah,
We're
man.
happy
Many
to do it.
prayers to your family, man.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
do it. So before we sign off, we want to thank Corey and Keith for coming in and stopping by and imparting their wisdom on today's show. We appreciate you guys. Whenever we have an open slot, we'd love to have you guys come back.
Coming off the bench.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
So that ends today's show. Let's talk about the world of real estate. Have a good one. See you next time.